Alright, my friends, so it's time for us to understand how to connect all these things together. But before doing that, I'm just gonna tell you one secret about Redux. Let me go back here to our slides right here. Yeah, the store and action right here. Creating the store and creating the action, the easiest thing that you can do in your entire job as a developer. It is really simple and it is really easy, especially the store. The only problem and the only confusing part, let's say, about Redux, it is the reducer. How to create perfect reducers. Because I have told you that action, it is just like an event that will happen on the screen, like getting data from a server. That's an action. Deleting data on the screen, that's an action. Adding data, that's an action. Sorting, filtering, all these kind of actions or events are actions. All right. The store, it will be like the database, all right, in our application. It is just creating an empty object. How easy is that, right? But the problem is with reducers. Reducers are really, you need to be aware of reducers, because sometime you are creating your reducer and it's gonna work. But the problem is that you are creating the reducer in a bad way or incorrect way, even if it's gonna work. But this is not how you can or how you need to create it. So that's why it is just a quick note before we get started. Otherwise, let me show you how we are gonna connect all these dots together. So once again, I'm gonna explain the reducer first because it is really important thing to do. Reducer is just a JavaScript function that it is going to modify a piece of data using action. Then it is gonna store it in the store. Let's read it once again. Reducer is just a function that will modify a piece of data using action. Then it is gonna store it in in the store. So if we go back to the application right here on our screen right here, we can see, or let me tell you that for each component that you will create, all right, for each component that you need to display data that will be modified, then you are going to create a reducer for it. All right, so we have the products reducer, we have the cart or the saved reducer. All these are reducers. All right, so that's why we can see right here we have this piece of information. These courses are a piece of data, so we are going to create a products reducer. All right, so the products reducer, it will be a JavaScript function that is going to return for us a piece of data, in this case all these courses. And also this JavaScript function, which is the reducer, has the ability to modify these courses or these information using actions. In this case, here is the list of courses will be the data that will be returned. The action will be the searching, all right? And it's gonna return for us anything that we are going to or we need from these courses. So once again, I know it's a bit confused for you to understand, but trust me, it's gonna make a lot of sense once we are gonna write some code. But now we need to understand it as a theory, all right? Reducer are just a JavaScript function that is going to modify a piece of data using actions. Then it's gonna return it and store it to the store. And for each component that will display a data that will be modified, all right, then we are going to create a reducer for it. So in this case, we have the home component that is displaying list of courses. This is the data, all right? And here we have a search bar, and we are going to do some actions. We are going to interact with the form, all right? So once we type something, all right, the reducer modified our courses using this action, which was the searching, in this case filtering. The reducer filter this data and it is stored in our state or in our store in this case. So this is the whole idea of reducer. Once again, this is just a theory. We are gonna take a real example in the next few videos, but it is just a theory. I want you to understand it as a theory. Let me give you the final result right here. We will use actions to modify the data, like filter it, then send it to the store so it can be used in React later on. Alright, so this is what's gonna happen. We are gonna make an action like getting the data from the server. The reducer will take this action, alright, and it's gonna see what's the needed changes, for example filtering, sorting. Alright, at the end of the day it's gonna return for us a piece of data. This data will be sent and stored in our store. Make sense? So this is the end result. And let's simulate this example on our saved functionality. So I'm gonna undo the filter. Here we have the saved component. It's empty, it has nothing. All right, I'm gonna do some action right here. I'm gonna save, this is an action. All right, I'm gonna save this course right here. In this case, this course right here, it's the piece of data, and this is my action. I'm just gonna click on this one. The reducer will go ahead and take this course, add it or save it to so it will take this action, which was the saving in this case, and it will return for us this course right here, and it will be saved in the store. All right, so we can access it from this component right here. So once again, the action will be saving this course. The reducer will see that, hey, we have a save action, and this action should go ahead and save this course right here to the store. So the reducer will take this course and save it in our store. So this is the whole idea of Redux. You are gonna make an action just interaction with the UI, and the reducer will see the type of action that you did, and depends on that it's gonna make the necessary changes. So at the end of the day, we have an action. The reducer will process that action, and it will return for us all the data that we need, depends on the necessary or depends on the action that we have did. So the whole idea is real simple. Action is fired. The reducer will take the action and process the data with the necessary changes, and at the end of the day it's gonna get us data back so we can save it in our store. So hopefully that makes sense. This is really simple. Now the last thing that I want to show you, which is here is the store. All right, here is the final store. The store essentially it is just a collection of reducers, because I have showed you in a minute right here on a second that our home component need its own reducer. Our saved component need its own reducer, and if we have a cart or a shopping cart right here, it will need its own reducer. So at the end of the day, for each component that is displaying a piece of information and we can modify this information, then we need to create a reducer for it. And at the end of the day, we are going to put all these reducers together, or we are going to combine them together to create our store, which is known as a single source of truth, which is the local database for our application. And later on, when we are going to need any data, so we can go ahead and get it from our store, because it has all the reducers, it has all the data that we need. So once again, an action is fired. The reducer will process that action, and it's gonna send a piece of data to the store. All right, so once again, this is the whole idea of Redux, but that was just a theory. We need to understand it in a real world example, so that's why we are going to build this application. So hopefully that makes sense. That was real simple. In this few videos we have answer why Redux and all kind of stuff. In the next video I'm gonna take a quick recap, and I'm gonna show you or give you some tips and tricks so you can master Redux. So I hope that makes sense. Thank you my friends so much for watching. See you in the next one.